Welcome back to the program. Let's go live to the Deputy Nationals leader, Perrin Davey. Thanks for your time. What's the mood like among the voters you've met at the voting booths just a couple of days out now from the referendum?
Yeah, look, and I've been out and about, and I've stopped off at a few pre-polling booths and talking to people, talking to volunteers from both sides to find out what the mood is like. And certainly they've been busy. There's been a lot of people going into pre-poll. In a lot of these regional areas, people are keeping their cards quite close to their chest. So, you know, in some areas like here in Deniliquin, both sides, both the yes and the no volunteers are quite hopeful that they'll get the numbers. But when we're actually looking at the exit polls and what is being said, it does appear that the no campaign might get across the line, but the important thing is we can't be complacent. Everyone needs to go out, everyone who's eligible needs to go and vote, because this is the most important vote that they will make in their lives. This is to change our constitution, and regardless of what your feelings, your vote really does matter. So we need to make sure everyone gets to the polling booths. And also, I just want to really remind people to be respectful. The volunteers on those polling booths, whether they're yes or no, whether you agree with them or not, they are there trying to do the right thing, and they're there because they believe. And we really want to make sure that this debate ends on a respectful note, not a note of negativity and divisiveness, which has been increasing as the date gets closer. There seems to be a lot of frustration that is boiling to the top.
The PM says that a no vote means more of the same. The status quo continues. Why is that not true?
Well, it's not true, because one thing this whole referendum has done is put Indigenous affairs and the gap front and centre in everyone's minds. And while we've always said that we want to close the gap, we want to see change in how we deal with Indigenous issues, particularly in our most vulnerable remote communities that are often out of sight, out of mind. We do want to listen to the voices. What we don't want to do is enshrine in the Constitution a different establishment for one cohort of people based on hereditary race. So that is the difference. But what we all want to see is improvements in Indigenous outcomes. And so I believe that post the referendum, whichever way it falls, we will see change. I agree with my colleague Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price. We need to actually do an audit and look at where is the money going and why is it not achieving the outcomes that the best of policy intents are seeking to achieve, and how we can do it better.
Do you think the National Party, do you feel the National Party is vindicated in the early position you took, given where the referendum is headed?
Well, I think our process is vindicated, because we did establish a subcommittee of our party room. We all went out, we spoke in our communities, we spoke to people, we sort of read the mood on the ground where we're represented. And let's not forget that some of our lower house MPs actually hold electorates with the largest Indigenous population. And we listened to the people we were talking to. And that's when we had a very robust discussion in our party room. And we came to the conclusion that we would do the best to represent our communities by taking a no position on this and focusing on what we can do to improve outcomes, to make the changes in our regional and remote communities where it is most needed, to make sure we close the education gap, to make sure we close the life expectancy gap, to get better health outcomes, and to try and address some of the very complicated issues around crime statistics and domestic violence.
Just finally, there's been bipartisan support for the Jewish community in Australia, for Israel. The Greens were critical of illuminating the parliament in blue and white in solidarity with Israel. One senator called it a disgrace. Greens have been promoting the rallies, the pro-Palestinian rallies, in the wake of the atrocities carried out by Hamas in Israel. Are you shocked by the Greens' interventions in the wake of those terrorist attacks?
Well, I am, because what we are talking about here is absolutely terrorism. We're talking about 260 young people enjoying a music festival being absolutely massacred. We're talking about families, women, children and babies asleep in their homes, having their homes and their residential compounds of their communities attacked. And some of the stories that we're seeing are absolutely horrific. So whatever you think about the Palestinian and Israeli conflict, how anyone can condone those acts of absolute barbarism and terrorism, I fail to comprehend.
Yeah, indeed, and well said. And also the inability to show solidarity with the people affected is beyond belief. Perrin Davey, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.